Hey guys, welcome to Wednesday at Cardone University Mastermind. My name is Steve Sprague, coming to you live from the 305. Guys, thank you for joining us here every Wednesday. Which one am I looking at?
No, use that.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. Guys, welcome to the call. Listen, every Wednesday we come here, we actually do a call with you so that way you can take your Cardone University training. You can relate it to what you do. You can call in. You can drop us any type of questions that you have. I'm going to pick a topic this week that we're going to talk about, things that, I think people need help with. And you're not limited to calling in asking about anything. So today we're going to be talking about building certainty in follow-up. And we're going to have that discussion here today. But if you want to call in, if you got a deal, if you got a challenge, if you got somebody that you're trying to figure out, hey, what's the best strategy when it comes to follow-up, I'd love to share it with you. So today, guys, what we're doing is we're talking about how to raise certainty and follow-up. I want you to dial in. That number is 305-865-8668. That's the number. And we're going to get right into it, guys. So here's the deal. Inside Cardone University, we've got a program, and it's called Follow-Up. So when you're inside your system right here, I want you to get to this category right here. It's called Follow-Up. And if you notice, look at all these different categories. 10 courses on follow-up. 132 videos on follow-up alone. Why is there 132 videos on follow-up? Man, don't you just call the customer back? Don't you just reach out to them? Man, if they're interested, won't they just buy? Dude, there's 132 courses on follow-up for a massive, massive reason. And what we're going to talk about today is what is it and how do we be successful? So if you guys want to dial in, there's already people dialing in like crazy. 305-865-8668. I want to talk about a few things right now. We're gonna dissect this whole program called Follow-Up. So we just had the 3-day business boot camp. It's unbelievable. I had so many questions from people about follow-up, and I just started to really pick up that, man, a lot of people are having trouble with the idea of the follow-up, what it is, how to be successful with it. And so I wanted to do this training here. And what I'm going to be talking about is this. If you're at home, you should take notes. So follow-up, I just want to go over the definition. Grant's going to actually take a lot of time spending in the facts of the follow-up, teaching you about what to understand with follow-up. It's so important. If you skip that part, I'm telling you, you're missing a lot of value. So the definition of follow-up is something that continues or completes a process or activity. The key word there is continues or completes. So continues or completes a process or activity. Well, where did you get this person at? Where did you get the customer? Did the customer come into your business? Did you call them? Were they open to the idea? Why were they open to the idea? What I like to look at is, I like to take a look at certainty. The audio still good on this? So this is a certainty game. The whole thing, it's a certainty game. If the customer's certain, what do? They buy. Okay, they want to buy once they're certain. If they know it's the right product, if they know it can solve their problems, if they know it helps them out, or if they love it, if they're certain about loving it. Some people just love things. They're like, I just want to buy it. So when value exceeds price, they purchase, which means they are certain that the value is there. Well, Grant talks about, look, there's two people in the deal. And so here's you. Just go a nice stick figure. And this is your certainty level. Okay, this is the floor. Okay, and you're all the way up here. You're very certain that, hey, whatever I sell, mattress, car, sofa, cell phone, SaaS product, roof, mortgage, whatever I sell, hey, I'm the best guy on the planet to do it with. You know that, right? But there's a lot of information you know about what you do. Your client sometimes, or prospect, the prospect, I'll put a P right here, their certainty level is all the way down here. It's not even in the neighborhood of how high your certainty is. So your job when presenting the product is to identify dominant buying motives. Why would they buy it? Why? What are the reasons? What do they need help with? How does my services or product actually solve their issue? And in the perfect scenario, the perfect sales process, their certainty raises all the way up. And once they understand what you understand, once their certainty level hits this point right here, guess what happens? There's a sale. Okay, now for me, I think this is really simple, but from all the questions that I get, I notice a lot of people, they don't understand this. So this would be a perfect sales process. But what happens if I'm done? I ask for the business, I ask for the close. I say, hey, you seen enough to make a decision? Are you ready to buy? You know, and I start using all my different objection handling strategies. And let's say they're right here. And I say, hey, you know, have you seen enough to make a decision? And they object. And then they give me their objection. And then I maybe solve it a little bit. And so this goes from here to right there. So I'm raising it up a little bit, but they're still not sure. They're not certain yet. Then they start using, what do people use when they're not certain about the product? You should be taking notes at home. Okay, the two things that people blame when they're not certain are these: time and money. Hey man, now's not the right time. Okay, that's because my certainty is all the way down here. I don't think it can solve my problem, so I'm going to say, hey, it's not the right time. We're going to wait. Okay, if they knew what you knew, today would be the right time. Last week would have been the right time. Man, I'm late. If I knew what you knew about your product, like I'm already late to this. You know what? It's too much money. It just costs too much. You know, we're not going to do that. The monthly membership, it's too much. Yeah. Why is it too much? Because I don't know what you know about it, right? So my certainty is all the way down there. So what we want to do is we want to start to raise this up. So let's just say my close, by the end of the close, I got the customer right here. Well, the target is this level. So my follow-up should be set to just keep raising this bar all the way up to here. We can get some cash. Make sense? I get a lot of questions where I know for sure that people do not understand this at all. So let's look at a few things in the program. Okay, I'm going to show you this. If you guys want to dial in, I'm going to go through a couple things right now. So there's 132 courses. I'm telling you that there are a lot of things you need to see in the program that is really going to help you out. But I'm going to hit on a few things that I know that I personally love. There's going to be, you know, probably, I think the first thing inside this follow-up basics, I think is the most important thing. Number one is commitment. Like if you don't have commitment to your goals, there's no way in the world you're ever going to follow up. Okay, but that's pretty simple. And I would tell you that in most cases, I'll find that people are uncommitted to getting the deal, and so they lack creativity. They don't have any type of creativity to raise certainty. So let's talk about some other things that are really important. There's another video. There's a lot. So all these are important. I'm going to hit on very specific ones that I like in each category that I think are really important. Inside the mistakes to follow up. Now I want you to look at these. Never made the call. Not enough calls. Calls not on a regular basis. Waiting too long to follow up. Lack of variety of reasons to call. So, okay, now if the target is to go all the way up, and my prospect is right here, and I do a follow-up phone call 2 weeks after we present the product, where's their certainty at? This is a certainty scale. Okay, this is a certainty scale. So, if I call them in 2 weeks, you know, so mistakes, never made the call. What if I never make the call? Well, it stays right there. Not enough calls. And dude, they forgot about it. I may went from here and I went back down here because the next time I call them up, they're like, who's this again? Who's this? Oh, okay, yeah, you guys do that. Oh, we did look at that. Yeah, no, we're not interested. You know, dude, the certainty is going to drop if you don't keep the calls enough. Calls not on a regular basis. If I keep calls on a regular basis, I'm going to keep moving them up. Okay, this is a certainty scale. Remember, I'm raising the certainty with the customers. Now, waiting too long, lack of variety of reasons. Now, if I just keep hammering in the same thing, hey, Francisco, it's Steve, just checking in. Hey, Steve. Hey, Francisco, it's Steve, just touching base. Hey, Francisco, it's Steve. Hey, dude, there's nothing there, man. It's almost like this guy's like, hey, man, it's like now I'm for sure like my interest, my certainty is going down because my confidence in you goes down. I already didn't have confidence in the product that it was going to solve my problems. Now I definitely don't have confidence in you, right? And so this is where I have an opportunity in follow-up to actually raise the certainty that, hey, I'm the right product. I'm going to hang in there with you. I'm going to help you out. But dude, if I don't have variety, you are not going to get that customer up the certainty scale. Okay, let's go back and take a look at a couple of these. So number 6, not a clear purpose in the call. If you don't have a clear purpose in the call, you're not going to be able, people are going to be like, what is this again? Because you think you're the only person they talk to over the past couple weeks because you're living in your world. And you forgot about their world where they're getting pitched all the time, every single day. They're getting ads. They're getting, like, here's who I get pitched every single day. Nike hits me every day. I'm a runner, so Hoka's, their running shoe, they hit me every single day. Amazon hits me every day. Whole Foods hits me every single day. My spouse, dude, she's trying to sell me something every day. Okay, so I'm telling you, like, there's a lot of things that are going on every single day. Man, I forgot about you. Okay, unless I didn't, unless you had your follow-up game tight. Okay, now let's go back and look at a couple of these because what I want to share is some categories right here. How to use follow-up tools is an unbelievable strategy on, hey, here's some things that I could do if I was making the call, if I was doing the text, if I was doing an email. And then we start looking at handwritten letters, personal visits. There's 13 strategies that I could use. I want you to actually count. I want you to actually count how many strategies you're using right now, because if you're just using the phone, man, that's so tired and boring. That's it. That's all you got, just the, hey, just checking in call. Man, you don't even deserve the deal. So if I got 13 different strategies and every one slightly moves it up, I mean, it doesn't even have to be a whole lot of creativity at this point. I mean, 13 times would be able to get me all the way up this scale. So let's look at what's really going to work. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of different things inside the program on this. Let's go back to this, Francisco. So we've got one thing that I want to talk about that I haven't seen a lot of people do. These selfie virtual videos is something that, man, like I've been doing these for like 5 or 6 years, and so I feel like, man, these are pretty common knowledge. Most people are not doing them. And when we do the virtual videos, you know, we talked about this at the boot camp, like they don't always have to be some crazy video. They don't have to be you and the product. They could just be a simple video, 10 seconds. Hey, this is Steve, Grant Cardone's office. Thank you so much for the time today. Can't wait to do business with you. Check your inbox. Going to be talking to you soon. Boom, less than 10 seconds. It could just be that. So there doesn't have to be anything too crazy with it, right? I'll show you where those are happening at. And then one of the other things in here that I want to share, we've got social media touches, LinkedIn connections, we've got Twitter connections, we've got using photo mock-ups. You guys need to all study these videos. I don't have time to go through them today, but I do want to talk about video number 13, the survey. So video number 13, the survey, Grant's actually going to go through what is called the exit strategy, the exit survey. Okay, so let's talk about some questions that we're going to ask on this. Number 1, did we have what you wanted? This is something that you should try to do in person. If you can do this in person with the customer, if it can be done by a manager, that would be the ideal scene. Perfect case scenario. But I get that not everything's going to be a perfect case scenario. If you don't do it and this doesn't happen at all, that would be the worst case scenario, which is probably what's happening right now. The exit strategy survey. You want to find out, look, why did they not buy? What's happening? You know, hey, you're not going to buy. If you've exhausted every option to buy, dude, go to the exit strategy and say, hey, listen, totally understand you're not going to buy. Can we do an exit strategy with you real quick just to get better at what we do? Question number 1, did we have what you wanted? If you don't have what I want, I'm probably not going to be that certain about it anyways. If we're on the wrong product, that's one of the strategies of closing a deal. I got to have what you want. Number 2, question number 2. Did we get you figures on it? Which means, did we get you the numbers on it? Did you get a price? Did you get the payments? Did you get the options? If they don't have that, they for sure 100% can't buy. That'd be a flaw in your sales process where you're not giving a proposal to everybody. We have a 100% write-up policy here. Okay, you'll see that in the training. Question number 3 is, hey, were we within your budget? This is a question you want to ask later, not in the close. This is a question you ask in the exit survey. Hey, were we in your budget? I'm trying to find out, because remember, they're not certain, which means that they're probably not on the right product. If they're not on the right product, they definitely can't be certain. So I want to find out, I'm going to start using things that might help me get them to communicate. And one of those questions would be, hey, were we within your budget? So not a closing question, but an exit strategy question. Okay. Number 4, on a scale from 1 to 10, how would you rate this product? So I'm going to find out, hey, what do you think? I mean, are you leaving here and maybe you're at a 5? Like this would almost be a 5, right? You're at a 5, and we can find out, hey, what would make it a 10? What would have made that a 10? Right? So if we don't ever get the customer to communicate with us, we never find out what this is. Remember, I'm on one strategy. This is simply the exit survey. So the first 4 questions are going to be very specific answered, almost like yes or no questions, or in the scale from 1 to 10, I'm going to get a number. The questions 5 and 6 are going to be more of like an open-ended. Hey, what is your biggest concern at this time? It's designed to really ask, hey, what is your biggest concern about what problem, what can we not be able to handle for you? Hey, what was your biggest concern? Were we not be able to help you out with this product or with this service? In question number 6, what would we have to do to earn your business? Again, definitely not a closing question. This is an exit survey follow-up question like, hey, we've exhausted all options in the close. Let's go back and find out what we missed. Okay, that doesn't mean you need to drop your price. We're not talking about that at all. Okay, so we're talking about a few things right now. We're talking about raising certainty with follow-up. If you guys want to call in, we had some calls. I think we ended up dropping a couple. If you guys want to dial in, it's 305-865-8668. So some of the things that I want to talk about right here is how to get somebody from here all the way up to the top. Now, Grant put this together, okay? The guy is an unbelievable genius when it comes to raising the certainty. So let's talk about this. When you see the program right here and you go into this category, it says contact follow-up for over 365 days. So if you go all the way back to your presentation, all the things that Grant's talked about throughout the whole sales process, you are going to see a lot of things he talks about there used in the follow-up. Now, step number 1 is to thank them. Thank you. Thanks a lot. It's day 1. It's day 0. Like we're on the same day. So if I got somebody who's right here and they're like not quite certain, but they're not telling me, hey, this is 100% not going to be a product. Hey, they're going to use the time and the money thing. Time, money objections are going to happen. These are going to happen all right in here. Okay, so I get rid of these once I get up here. This is a certainty scale right here. Okay, this is where my certainty's at. I'm trying to raise it up. So they haven't told me, later on, a lot of companies, they only talk to you one time. If you don't buy, they never talk to you again. I go into a Nike outlet, I go into the Apple store, I go into any clothing store, I go into a car dealership. Most of these people, they're not following me up. Man, one of the first ways to raise certainty is to just follow up. Make it as quick as possible. Make it the same day. Now all of a sudden I get a quick little follow-up that says, hey, thank you. Thank you for coming in. Wow, that's different because nobody does that anymore. That raises my certainty that, hey, maybe they weren't maybe it wasn't just a salesperson trying to get a deal, but maybe they actually want to help me out. Okay, so that's step number 1. Day number 1 contact. If you go in, you actually watch this video right here. So day 1 contact is very specific. Very specific. Grant's going to tell you to do this. He's going to say, hey, give him a call back. Okay, if you can't get them into your business, we want to get them on the phone. We want to get them on a website. We'd love to do a virtual meeting. We'd love to get them on your website. If you sell cars, if you sell furniture, if you sell mobile phones, get them on your website. We want to show them inventory. If you sell mortgages, SaaS products, if you sell anything, look, get them onto something. The chances of you getting them back in, that would be best case scenario for a second appointment. I don't think that's going to happen here. And what I've noticed is that it doesn't happen here, but I can say, hey, oh my gosh, when you left yesterday, or hey, when we got off the phone yesterday, we totally forgot about something. Okay, you guys could use this too when they call in on the tickets and we don't close the deal. Look, hey, listen, Oh, my fault, man. When we left, we got phone yesterday. I totally thought about something. I need to show it to you. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give them a totally different offer. This is day one. Totally different offer. Why would I want to do that? Well, here's what I know for sure. Okay. Here's what I know for sure is that they're not certain. A lot of salespeople try to just keep calling on the same product. It's like, dude, if they were going to buy that product, if they were going to actually get that product, they would, like, look, they'd be closer to the certainty. You would feel it. But they gave you the time and the money objections. That's where you're at right now, which means they're blaming time and they're blaming money and they're saying now's not the right time. We don't know. That's a little bit too much money. It's, you know, they come up with all these sayings. That's a little bit, you know, sweet for us. That's not the deal, man. That's not the deal. Those people spend money all the time on things that are, you know, who knows, man. If they got an iPhone in their pocket, they're spending money all the time. What you need to know is that, look, they're not sold on whatever you showed them, so show them something different. So here's what I can do. We know that they have to shop. We know that people today, they like to shop. When they go on, they go to their movies, they go to their Netflixes, they go to their Hulus, they get to shop movies, and they just get to see it right there on their laptops or their iPads. When they go to Amazon, what are they doing? Oh, compare price. Oh, I just get to shop everything. When they go to e-commerce sites, they get to shop everything. When you go to a car dealership, how many cars are at the some stores have 2,000 cars there. They're used to shopping, and if they go to you and they've got one offer and they've got one thing and they didn't like it, or they're like, well, you know what, we like it. We're going to tell you that we like it, but we need to wait. Because now is not the right time. Even though we came all the way over here and spent 4 hours with you, which is super weird, we're not quite ready yet. We're probably not on the right product, so let's go ahead and offer something totally different. Because we need to exhaust their need to shop. What happens if it's the wrong product? If it's the wrong product, there's really only two things that could happen. If I offer them option B, and I say, hey, let's go with this other product, they might just say, you know what, like, no, definitely not. Actually, we liked better what we had seen, right? So you can start to exhaust their need to shop. Because now they're just starting to check off, you know, boxes in their head where they're like, well, and that might even raise them up even a little bit. They're like, well, we've actually, I wouldn't do that. We like the first one better. We like the first option better. That might raise them up. Or they may end up saying that, oh, you know what? Hey, yeah, tell me more about that. So then they start learning about something different with some different options or offers. That's where we want to start to raise this certainty with the customer. I'm going to come back. I'm going to take a caller, and I'm going to actually answer some questions, but we're going to dive into this 365-day follow-up tool, showing you that, hey, this whole thing was set up to raise the certainty. Okay, caller number one. Is it a good question?
You ready for a call?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, Melissa Jackson.
Nice. Melissa, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing amazing. What's happening today?
What's up? Just watching this Mastermind, doing deals. How about you?
Yeah, you know what? Doing deals myself, trying to raise certainty, get people to understand what I understand about my product, closing deals. So what can I help you out with today?
Yeah, I just had a question about the 365 follow-up, right? So I've watched that quite a few times, and I'm just trying to figure out how do you guys systemize that, or how do you guys set it up into a way that it's not overwhelming? I know you guys do, I think, like 100, 200 calls a day?
We do, yep.
Yeah. So how do you guys streamline those 200 calls a day to be in that follow-up process to the point where you're not missing a day? Or do you kind of take the 365 follow-up a little bit of a grain of salt, if you will, when you're doing it and executing it?
We try to execute it as close as we possibly can with that. Now, there's going to be different factors that come in where, like, you know, there's second meetings set up, there's other calls with other influencers or decision makers, and so sometimes these things get, you know, handled correctly, but this was created so you could keep following up without being overwhelming or like exhausting people, and you really shouldn't. That's the importance of this, because if you're not closing a deal, then you know for sure that they're not certain about what you're trying to sell them on, right?
Absolutely. So how do you systematically set that up? So do you guys have assistants for the salespeople that execute this 365, or how would you suggest me streamlining it? I mean, I work at a firm.
Yep.
I've got an assistant. I've got a marketing team that can do email blasts, but it's not very personalized. And then I'm thinking about hiring another virtual assistant. So is this something you outsource to be able to buy time, or how do you guys go about streamlining this so I'm able to work on my current deals and also follow this correctly?
Yeah, good question. I mean, for me personally, as a salesperson, my title is salesperson. I hate outsourcing anything to anybody because they're definitely not going to do it as good as I am. And if it directly affects my income, then I want access to it. And so I can add personalization to it. Like if there was something where I had talked to the customer. See, the problem is I think everybody tries to outsource too much, and what ends up happening is everybody they start to see that, oh wow, I'm just like another number to them. And so for me personally, the way I do it and the way a lot of the people in our office are doing it, we have this written out, plus we have the training up all the time. There's short videos, that way you can watch them throughout the day, where you can just grab one or two and find out, hey, what am I doing on day 1 or 2 or 3? Plus, this is a little CRM trick. When you can set funnels, or I don't know what they're called in other CRMs, but like the external IDs, or the you can actually check them off as something different. Like you could have attempted contact, or demoed, or appointment set. So I'm calling back my hottest leads in the morning every day, and I'm usually calling a whole block of my hottest leads are in the same funnels. So they're all like, I know that I just talked to them yesterday, and once I'm done with them, I move on to my next hottest leads, and then I move on to my next hottest leads. So we also look in our CRM when we search our list to call for like that little time period. I'm setting like the people that I've talked to in the past 10 days, I usually keep it like that, so that way I know whether I'm doing, I just talked to him yesterday, I'm calling him up with a new idea, and then I'll start using a lot of the same ideas, right? So I talked to somebody yesterday, I showed them our Cardone University, they didn't buy. Today, I'm talking to all those people about having Grant Cardone come in personally and coach them. Now that's what I do. In your case, you just have to figure out, hey, what's that additional option that they could use? If I was selling mattresses, if I was selling mortgages, I would try to figure out, hey, what's the other option that I could do? And I'm going to call those people back. That's going to be day 1 follow-up. Okay. So
got it. Okay.
Yep. And then day 2, he talks about the handwritten letter. So the purpose of the handwritten letter, if you go in and you watch day 2, it's a handwritten letter, but it's really just to get back in contact and say, hey, I'm sending you something. What's your address? Well, you can find their address online, right? So you just want to call up and say, hey, what's your address? Like, I want to make sure that I'm sending it to the right one. Are you there at that office? Hey, by the way, now that I got you on the phone, did you see everything I'd sent over on day 1? Did you have any questions about what we talked about, right? So I can start using some of this exit survey questions that I was talking about. And that's what you want to do when you get them on the phone.
Okay. What about after you win over their business? So, I mean, we have really, in commercial real estate, we have really long sales cycles, right? So you're under due diligence for, let's say, like 120 days. Do you keep them in a follow-up system if you've already are under contract? Do you have a different follow-up system that you use for that, or is this follow-up system primarily for new prospects as you're converting them into a client?
Well, this one's actually for unsold prospects. So like in your case, somebody you don't have an agreement with, someone who's not under contract, someone who's not in due diligence. And then if you actually want to look at the one right next to it, it says types of calls for owner follow-up. In your case, so like you've got a very specific business there, right? And so, I can see how you go through and you're like, wow, like how does this make sense to me? Because I'm in this like 120-day cycle. This doesn't really match up with what I would do. Well, what I would do is I would look at, hey, what's the nature of what Grant's saying right now? And how do I use it? And how could I connect with these people? That's why I have in all the first 13 strategies, which is what I had shown which is what I'd shown right before this, where there's like all the different ways, where there's like the call, the email, the text, the survey, the connect on LinkedIn, all those different ones. That's why you want to use those, because if you're in that 120-day window and like you guys already know you're doing business and it's just like, you don't want to feel like, hey, this is overwhelming because like we're kind of already in a deal and it just seems kind of weird when we know what's happening, but you need to stay in front of them. Use some of those tools in there. So like I'll consider me connecting with somebody on LinkedIn or connecting with them on Facebook as a follow-up.
Sweet. Okay. Perfect.
Yep.
Any other tricks to implement this follow-up and document correctly in a CRM? Because it seems like, well, you're always going to be adding new tasks every single day, which is obviously, you know, the good thing of 10Xing, right? But how do you keep on top of all of this?
I just keep like lists and like funnels. And so there's ways to create your own lists and probably every CRM, like to have labels on them. And, you know, I don't know what that's called in yours. In ours, it's called an external ID. And that's where, you know, we use that label. And so what I'll do is I'll put in, like this month, it's July. So I'm like, Steve, hot deals, July. Well, I can see on there how many dials I have out to them. So I can also pull up that list and I can talk to the short amount of people that I've talked to, because today's the 17th. You know, if I'm pitching, let's just say I'm presenting 2 opportunities every single day, and most of my time is prospecting efforts. Well, if I'm following up just my list from July, then I've really only got about 30 or so different leads in there, and I can see how many dials I have. And since I know what to do on the follow-up, you know, because since I've been through it so many times, and we have a printout sheet that says, hey, it's, you know, it's your 3rd follow-up with the customer, it's day 3 follow-up, then I can really use that, and it's not too much of a drag on my time.
Perfect. Awesome, man. Thank you.
Hey,
I'd love to have you come and speak at my mastermind sometime with a bunch of 10Xers if you got any free time.
I'd love to. I always love helping people out. Let me ask you this. Who there who has a sales team I can help out, we can get a deal from? You got people in there who need help on Cardone University?
Oh, I'm sure. One of them runs a hotel social media management company, so she works with a bunch of hotels. I think she's got quite a few people. I think there's a couple of business owners in there. So yeah, I think a couple of them you'd be able to hopefully get some deals in there, and they're all from the 10X Ambassador Group. So
I love that.
They definitely pick up what you're throwing down.
I love that. Well, that'd be really cool. I really appreciate you calling in. Thanks a lot, Melissa. Take care. Have an amazing day. Guys, back to raising certainty on this. So what I want to do is I want to look at contact follow-up for over 365 days. Let's just brush through a couple of these. And so as you're back in this piece right here, I want you guys to really understand not every single day is going to work out perfect. I get it. You got to play with these, and you got to try to stay as tight as possible. The more time added to a deal, the less likely your deal is to happen. So like the longer you are to get down in here, the less likely it is to happen. So you want to stay tight in the first 5 days. And so we've got the first call where I'm initiating a second opportunity. I'm doing a handwritten letter where I'm actually calling them and saying, hey, what's your address? I'm sending you a gift, right? So, oh, wow, since we're on the phone, you know, let's chat. And then I'm going to send them a selfie virtual video. This can be simple. Then on day 4, we're offering a personal visit. Now, this is where I get a lot of people, I get them so lost on this, where they're like, a personal visit? I do sales over the phone. I live in Jacksonville, Florida, and they're in Denver, Colorado. I would never drive out there. Well, you don't have to. But if you offered, like Grant says, he says, hey, look, it's an offer of a personal visit. It says, hey, call them up. Invite them to something. Say, hey, listen, I want to actually stop in your organization. If you're close and like you do your business in town, especially if you're in like retail sales, oh my gosh, what an unbelievable opportunity just to say, hey, I'm going to be in your area. You told me you lived over on XYZ Street, right? And they're like, what? No, I live over here. And I'm like, oh, okay, my bad. Hey, what about you guys coming back in? You know, I'm going to be in that area. Could I stop by? Could I show you some stuff? Could I show you what we have next? Could I show you our new lines? You know, get creative here. This is where that first video says commitment. Creativity follows commitment. It's a Grant Cardone stable piece of information. And if you can start thinking with this, you'll start getting people to be like, oh, you know what? Man, maybe, you know what, let's, man, now their certainty raises up. You know, they're like, well, you know, hey, let's take a second look at that. Okay, well, when you do a demonstration of your product and the customer certainty levels all the way up here versus the first time you talk to them, when it was down there, how much better of a chance do you have closing the deal? Okay, we're taking them to the top right now. So what happens is these follow-up strategies are really set up for you to just raise certainty with the customer. Now, you always got to be filling up the pipeline with new customers, new prospects, new people. That is very important. It is a 100%. You should be doing it every day. But let's start looking at some of these other things. Video number 5. Okay, this is from what we call a no deal touch. Or it could be about the deal, but primarily it should be about a no deal touch. Some of these things on here are you following up with this customer and it having nothing to do with the deal. Remember, if I was just saying, hey, just checking in, man, that's annoying, right? If I'm doing this thought of you, this could be from anything really. This could be me doing a screenshot of something I seen online. I texted out, hey, I seen this picture, I thought of you. Maybe I followed them on LinkedIn. I found out what college they went to. I know that they're a huge Indiana University, the Hoosiers, and I see something about something in there. I'm like, hey, I thought of you on this. Could be an article about something in their industry. I sent them an article. Hey, seen this, thought of you, just popped up, thought of you, wanted to email it to you, thought you'd love it. Has nothing to do with the deal. It's me building the relationship with the customer, the prospect. And look, these things are all, there may not be leaps and bounds right here, but you keep doing those and you stay in front of them until the next time you talk. And next time you're on the phone, they're all the way up here versus at the bottom. So you got to use all these different types of things. Now on day 10, there's a little bit of a back off where Grant says, hey, look, let's give him some room to breathe. Look, something's up. So the certainty is not there yet. Okay, he says the only time to retreat, the only time to ever retreat, if you can see this, where we went hard for 5 days and then we backed off for 5 days. So look, the only time to retreat is to regroup, get a better game plan, figure out what's happening. Okay, let's let them breathe a little bit, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to offer them to an event. Now, this is another topic that I see a lot of people saying, well, we don't do events here. Well, you need to start doing events. Okay, you need to start creating events. I'm doing an event right now. I invite people to this show. I invite people to the live demo that I'm doing this afternoon at 4 o'clock. Okay, I just made it up. Okay, it's happening at 4. I'll see you there. Right? You can do this online with virtual, get those screen share programs. If you don't have events at your place, maybe set one up. Maybe you got an event down the road. Maybe you do an annual event every year. You guys do an annual barbecue. You guys do something like we have where it's like a 10X growth con, 10X boot camp. Maybe you're in retail sales and you're like, hey, every year at the 4th of July, we have an unbelievable, great time. We have a great sale. It's a lot of fun. A lot of clients come out. We want to invite you by. You're like, well, man, it's July 17th. That's a whole year from now. Yeah, well, I just want to invite you to it early. Who knows? It's just a way to keep following up and build that relationship so we can keep going. And then maybe one day you talk to that customer and they're like, hey, man, you know what? We love what you're doing. And you're great, man. You're awesome. You've done really good on the follow-up, right? They're going to do that nice guy thing. Hey, the reason we haven't done this is because we don't think we're going to use it. Ching, ching. So now you got your objection. Now you move into your objection handling strategies. Okay, but you've raised their certainty up about you all the way up here at this point. Now I can start handling, well, what is it about what we're doing do you not believe? Well, we just don't think it's going to work. Well, what about what you've seen do you think is going to work? How much do you think it's going to affect your business? How much do you think it's going to affect your life? Maybe you're selling mattresses. Hey, it's an $8,000 mattress, and we've never spent more than $800. $8,000, never going to happen for us. Okay. Hey, what if half of what we were telling you is true? Okay, you get better sleep, you operate better at work, you're going to be able to have a better time with your kids, your family. What if half that is true and your time is better spent? And now all of a sudden, I'm in my sales pitch. Again, I'm back in my sales pitch, but I started up here. And now I'm getting them higher up on this certainty graph because I really identified what their objections were and I can start to handle them. Where they weren't really voicing them when they were uncertain about it. They were blaming time and they were blaming money. So this is where you got to stay in the game, guys. This is where you got to actually stay in the deal. And so some of these things are really set up so that way you can just keep raising the certainty. Okay, so follow-up means you are doing activities necessary to get someone to become a client. So some of the other things on this 365-day strategy would just simply be like informational links at this point. You know, hey, let's send you some informational links about what we do. Like I do sales training. So sometimes I'll send out sales training links, but they have nothing to do with my company. They're just standard industry specific links. Video, email. I send videos and emails all the time. I don't know how people want to watch things. Maybe they don't even watch the video I texted over to them, but for whatever reason, they watch this video that I send out. I'm not sure, right? I'm just going to use all the different strategies. Again, I'm going to do another event offer. I'm doing another thinking about you. Special offers. Oh my gosh, wow, we're having a huge sale on XYZ over here. Wanted to run it by you. You know, this is where you can, like, we're just looking like, hey, are they in, you know, because some people do get excited about getting a good deal on price. They're, you know, I remember my grandma, she would always cut out the coupons. She would buy all the things with the coupons. So she'd end up with all this other stuff, wasted money, but she saved money because she used the coupon. So it was like her thing. She's like, oh my gosh, if I'm going to get a deal on it, I'm going to buy it. Yeah. We never end up using it. We'd always end up with a bunch of extra macaroni and cheese and all types of crazy stuff. And you know what I'm talking about? Some people like to buy that way. So if they feel like, oh wow, I'm getting a deal, like this is how we market here, where we use money to drive urgency on big sales. And like, it's funny, if you guys just pay attention, we'll run one ad, like, hey, buy Cardone University for $9.97 and get a 10X GrowthCon ticket for free. And literally like 3 weeks later, we'll get all these people to purchase. They're like, oh my gosh, that's a great idea. I love that. And then we'll get all these other people over here where we're like, hey, buy a Grant Cardone 10X GrowthCon ticket for $9.97. Get Cardone University for free. And we get all these people over here and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you guys ran this deal. It's the craziest deal I've ever seen you guys run. And we're like, yeah, we know. You know, and like, this is what's really happening. You don't know what people are going to jump at or what's going to increase their interest. They may have more interest in the one package where like they're way up here when they talk to a salesperson and they're interested in the free Cardone University versus the ticket, or they're interested in the ticket. They're like, wow, the fact that I get the program with it at no charge, that's awesome. But you have to figure out what your value adds are and figure out what that is for your business, what you can add and just package and wrap. You know, like we're playing with that stuff all the time. We don't use money to negotiate, but we do use different incentives to drive traffic. And so you'll see that, and you'll notice that, look, when you talk to the customers and they're not buying, you guys got to go in here and go to this follow-up strategy. Now, once you get to day 40 and day 50, and we're doing another personal visit again. Hey, we haven't done any business with you yet. I want to offer to come out there. I want to show you why we're the right offer. Look, if you've done all these different strategies, you probably haven't freaked somebody out. You probably have not overwhelmed them. And, you know, maybe they're not fully certain in the product yet. Maybe on the product level, they're down here, but when it comes to being certain about you, man, they're all the way up here. They're like, hey, if I ever do anything, you guys ever do a deal like that where it's like, hey, man, you got clients here, Natalie, where it's like, if they ever do anything, like they're coming through you? Yeah, of course. Like they're more certain on you than they are on some of the things, because they call you up. Hey, tell me about that offer that you were talking about. If they were so certain on the offer, they would have bought it online, but they didn't. They called you because they're more certain with you than they are with the product. Because you've followed up, helped them out, showed them how to showed them how to get, the products to work, right? And that's where people need to be certain, and that's what this entire game is completely about, you know? Again, if they knew what you knew, they would buy. We just got to work on the follow-up. Follow-up is going to raise them all the way up to this point where we get everybody certain in the deal. Okay, so there's a lot of understanding to this follow-up. There's a lot of strategy. There's a lot of different ways to get back in front of somebody. I'm going to finish off with this. If you want to go into the program here, a lot of times I really like to go to this, reasons why people do not buy from me or buy from you. This has been one of the most helpful and beneficial pieces of Cardone University for me personally, because sometimes people aren't doing deals and I don't know why. I'm like, man, I've done everything right on the follow-up, and it becomes something that was maybe out of my personal control and I don't know about it. So if I don't know about it, how can I handle it? Well, Grant put this whole list together, 17 lessons on different things that it could be. And I will tell you, I've ran into so many things in this list, like the weird ones, like personal issues with kids, marriage, legal, that have stopped me from getting deals, and I had no idea about it. But I wasn't even able to like identify that this could be an option without this training. And so what I would do is I would advise you to really go in there. Like, I'll give you an example. I had this guy I was doing a deal with. We were so close to a deal. We were on the 1 yard line. Like, I thought the deal was coming back. And so, we're waiting on this deal, and the guy, he just ghosts me, right? And then a couple of days had went by, and I'm following up with him, getting creative, doing some fun stuff, some extra stuff that's, in like the advanced content in here. And so I'm not hearing anything from him, and I'm like, okay, why is this guy not buying from me? Let's look at my list. And I start going down this list. I'm like, it's not lack of time, because I'm handling that for him. I know it's not concerned about cost. We're making this person millions, and the investment's nothing. It can't be the cash flow unless he didn't tell me the truth on the call. It's not budget. And I was like, you know what? Personal issues. What personal issues was it? And I just started like reaching back into this guy's life, and I'm just, started asking him, hey, is there anything else outside of the deal that's going on? Guy calls me up right away. This is after like 3 weeks of him going dark and me following up and finally saying, hey, it's not about the deal, it's something else. And he told me, he was like, hey, you know what? We had an issue in our company, and I had to fire my top, the person who was actually leading my entire organization over some legal thing. And it was like a totally different issue that had nothing to do with me, my product, my service. I could have went crazy. I wanted to at points where I'm like, why is this not happening? But with training, I knew that there was something else involved there. I knew that if I just stuck to the 365-day game plan, that I was going to raise certainty high enough for that person to say, you know what, you guys are the right deal. This is the right company. It's the right product. I believe in you. I believe in your services, and I can't wait for you to work with us. I knew that was going to happen. And when it got stalled out, I knew something else was up. And if I had this list right here, I was able to kind of, throw an idea out there that, hey, is there anything in addition to the deal that's happening right now that is keeping us from doing something? Calls me back immediately and lets me know what was really going on. Now, it was something that had nothing to do with me, right? But at least I knew where I was in the deal. So a lot of you get, ghosted, or, person goes dark on you and they don't talk to you, and it's because you don't know what's going on and they don't want to tell you what's going on. And for you to raise certainty like that person, just the fact that I knew, hey man, there's got to be something else going on here. Like, I'm a professional. Anytime this happens, I know there's something different. That put more confidence with me into him, where he was like, hey, this guy's a real pro. He knows what's going on. And when people think you know what's going on, they think, hey, they might be able to help me out. And that's what you want to do, because you're raising that certainty. Okay, so guys, thanks a lot for showing up here. Every Wednesday we do this. We talk about one topic. Today we talked about follow-up. We talked about raising certainty in follow-up. Talked about hanging in there. We talked about knowing that, look, if they didn't buy your product, there's something they're not certain about, offer them a different product. Offer them a second option. Go to something different, because they're saying no to whatever they have, or they're blaming time, and they're blaming money on it not being the right thing. But remember, if they knew what you knew, they wouldn't use time or money now would be the right time. So think about that, and think about all the different things Grant put in the follow-up tool. It's an unbelievable program. Grant Cardone is an unbelievable master to see things the way he does, and he put all the training about how he would follow them up, how to be successful with it, and he put it in this training program for you guys. So every Wednesday we're doing this. It's called the Mastermind. Appreciate you joining us to be able to bring like minds together, people who want to be successful, people who are trying to be better salespeople, better business owners, better managers. And we can't wait to see you back here next week on the Wednesday Mastermind.